Welcome to this explainer. If you live in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, you've probably heard the buzz about the proposed data center project over on Flatwood Road. It's absolutely the talk of the town, and honestly, rightly so. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain and dive into the unseen forces infiltrating data center debates just like yours, sweeping across American towns right now. We're going to look at the who, what, where, and how of coordinated influence campaigns targeting local infrastructure. And we'll reveal why the loudest voices in your local debate might not actually be local at all. So, picture this. You're scrolling through your Lawrenceburg community Facebook group, reading these super passionate posts about the Flatwood Road project. You might totally think the resistance is entirely grassroots, right? Just concerned neighbors looking out for their town. But researchers, along with multiple congressional inquiries, have actually uncovered some fascinating evidence about who might really be pulling the strings behind the scenes. Let's be totally clear here. Your local concerns about water usage, the energy grid, and noise, those are completely valid. They absolutely deserve serious, honest attention from your local zoning boards and city councils. But here's where it gets complicated. Foreign actors are actively weaponizing these very real local issues. Their ultimate goal isn't to protect your town's water supply. It's to stall American artificial intelligence and technology build-out so they can gain a geopolitical edge. Let's break down how they do it, starting with Vector 1, state media, and the great hypocrisy. Our investigation into the who actually begins with foreign state media deliberately targeting American AI infrastructure. We're talking about Beijing's English language propaganda outlets like China Daily and CGTN, as well as Russia's RT. They're launching these concerted campaigns aimed directly at U.S. consumers and our local grids. And the double standard here is wild. While Chinese state outlets are constantly warning Americans about how dangerous and energy-hungry AI data centers are, even actively encouraging federal and local moratoriums in the U.S., the Chinese government is simultaneously subsidizing up to 50% of the energy costs for its own domestic data center operators. It's just a calculated hypocrisy. Slow down the American build-out while aggressively accelerating their own. That brings us to Vector 2, the manufactured grassroots. Now, foreign state media can't exactly walk into a local Lawrenceburg zoning board meeting and influence policy directly, can they? They need domestic messengers to manufacture what looks like a grassroots movement right in your backyard. Enter the CCP Singham network. Neville Roy Singham is a U.S. expatriate living in Shanghai, and he has documented ties to the Chinese Communist Party. He funds this vast network of U.S. nonprofits, and it operates like a perfect echo chamber. Chinese state media and these Singham-funded U.S. nonprofits synchronize their talking points flawlessly. They cross-post, they share staff, and they push the exact same narratives opposing U.S. AI infrastructure. So what's their actual playbook? Well, these coordinated networks distribute explicit, step-by-step guides directly to local groups. One major toolkit is literally called the People Say No Resisting Data Centers Toolkit, which is published by Media Justice. Another one is called the North Star Toolkit. This is the what of the operation. They provide the intellectual layer and the prepackaged talking points to manufacture what looks like organic local resistance. But in reality, it's a highly orchestrated, top-down strategy designed to halt projects just like the one on Flatwood Road. And to fuel this massive advocacy infrastructure, it takes serious money. Foreign-tied charitable vehicles belonging to billionaires from places like Switzerland and Britain have funneled over $2 billion into these exact types of U.S. nonprofit and advocacy organizations. That's billion with a B. It's a massive war chest specifically designed to influence American policy from your local town hall all the way up to Congress. So, what does this look like in the real world? Let's check out the trickle-down impact on local policy. We know the who and we know the what. Let's look at the actual consequences and see how this multi-million-dollar coordination impacts American communities. Honestly, the results are staggering. Take Virginia, for example, which is widely known as the data center capital of the world. Back in 2023, 69% of residents there were perfectly comfortable with new data centers. Fast forward to 2026, after years of these coordinated influence campaigns, and that number plummeted to just 35%. It really shows that their strategy of eroding public trust is highly effective. And the impact is spreading like wildfire. At least 54 local towns and counties across the United States have already passed moratoriums pausing data center construction. By freezing these projects at the local level, these campaigns are effectively doing the strategic bidding of adversarial nations who are desperately trying to win the global AI race. Okay, so moving on to spotting the red flags. This brings us to the where and the how. Where is this happening? Right in your local Lawrenceburg Facebook and community groups. So, how do you know if your group has been infiltrated? Well, we can use this threat hunting checklist to spot the telltale signs. First, keep an eye out for GAN-generated profile pictures. That stands for Generative Adversarial Networks, basically AI-generated faces of people who literally do not exist, posing as concerned locals. Second, watch for synchronized posting. That's where the exact same lengthy comment magically appears across Facebook, X, and Telegram at the exact same time. And third, look for the sudden parroting of very specific, unusual phrases. Here's a perfect example of that last point. In March 2026, Beijing's flagship English newspaper, China Daily, published a piece claiming the AI boom sends electricity bills in U.S. skyrocketing. If you suddenly see a flood of posts from supposed neighbors in your town's forum warning about skyrocketing bills using that exact phrasing, you're likely reading a talking point directly copy-pasted from foreign state media. Researchers actually have a name for this precise tactic: coordinated inauthentic activity. This is where networks artificially amplify foreign-affiliated media and partisan content using bot farms. It's specifically designed to create an illusion of massive, localized outrage. It completely distorts the public discourse so that real citizens can't even have a normal, productive conversation about the actual pros and cons of a project. So, how do we fix this? Let's talk about reclaiming your community voice. What do we actually do with all this information? The point of this explainer isn't to say that every single data center must be built, or that the Flatwood Road project is completely flawless. Not at all. Your community's valid concerns about resources, noise, and jobs absolutely deserve serious, authentic local deliberation, completely free from foreign manipulation. Rather, as the Bitcoin Policy Institute points out, true local democracy and informed decision-making require absolute transparency. You deserve to know exactly who is funding these aggressive advocacy campaigns and toolkits that suddenly show up at your city council meetings. So I'm going to leave you with this final, vital question to ask yourself the next time a supposedly grassroots petition circulates in your hometown about the Flatwoods Road project, or any other infrastructure debate for that matter. Are the voices you're hearing actually your neighbors? Will your community's future be decided by you or by foreign algorithms and dark money? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and I'll catch you next time.